Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Hey y'all, I'm April.
And I'm Caroline.
And
This is your Bloody Happy Hour.
Caroline, are you ready for this?
This is your newest guilty pleasure.
It's the bloodiest part of your week.
Did we say something about it also being happy hour?
Show did.
Because we're about to be sipping on some murder. Bloody Happy Hour.
Hey y'all, this is April.
It's Caroline.
Yeah, and this is Pete. I'm back again. They can't get rid of me.
Listen, people loved Pete on the
They
show.
want a piece of Pete.
I love being on the
Piece
show.
of Pete. They actually had a couple fans that were like, I want Caroline to have a piece of Pete.
People said that. We're both like, after we left, I heard some people mention, right? Yeah.
And then I was thinking, I was
tall.
like,
Yeah.
I was thinking, so Pete, if this doesn't work out with your girlfriend,
Yeah.
y'all would, did you play sports?
Yeah, I played football. Yeah. Yeah.
Caroline, and look at Caroline, broke some records at A&M.
Did you really?
Midway. Yeah.
I
didn't know.
have the indoor record.
Yeah.
Indoor
No,
record.
I got a
So-
football scholarship to Richmond, but I had a heart problem, so they kept me on scholarship, but I couldn't play.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so
But
So
I'm not a great athlete.
that would be a great D1 baby.
I think so. Yeah.
Just save some sperm for her later on, just in case. Use that water bottle later on. She'll freeze it in case it don't work out. So funny.
it's not a bad idea.
We're back for part 2.
Because part 1 was so good.
It was so good. I did my own sample. I
Okay.
did a little sample of my, my family's everybody, white, black, and Mexican. So it's basically a full sample, right?
Yeah.
And so I asked my white dad, and he was like, "Oh, OJ did it." My mom, Hispanic. Oh, OJ did it. He didn't get away with it, but the Lord's going to take care of him. My father-in-law and my husband, which is a black side, my father was like, what y'all talking about him for? He didn't do anything. And so then my husband was like, there's no way in America that a black man will ever get away innocently for killing anybody, let alone 2 white people. So,
He's not the only person that feels that way. Yeah.
oh yeah, obviously not. So that was just my sample. So we're right.
I I didn't really get to sample a lot of people.
You're researching.
Didn't research, but I did ask one of my friends what she thought of the episode.
What was that?
And let's just go ahead and read her text.
Okay.
She said, honestly, I know you expect nothing else. The first 26 minutes got on my nerves. Get to the damn story. I'm sure the reason for the initial banter, but dang, or I'm sure there's a reason. Sister's got shit to do, and I can't listen to this and do anything else. So I'm just listening to y'all talk about pineapple shit and some housewife stuff. However, after the first 26 minutes, I would say this is my favorite. Could have a lot to do with the subject matter. I'm the same age as Pete, and so it's very relatable, like a trip down memory lane. Aren't you glad you asked?
Yeah. Thank you for coming on the trip with us.
Nice.
So there's some feedback.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then Pete said he announced it on the news.
Yeah, I talked about it Friday morning because I had such a good time with you guys, and it came out Thursday, right? And I talked about the fact that, I mentioned it. I'll send it to you guys, the clip. But yeah, I said it was just so awesome coming on here and talking about this because it's one of my, I don't know what to say favorite subjects, but one of the subjects I am most interested in.
Yes.
And to be able to share with you guys on this was really cool.
Well, you know what else is, I did have a bunch of random people reach out while you were gone because I wanted to send you all these things. I was like, she's gone, she's on a cruise. And some random person started listening with a friend. She's like, where have I been? How have I not heard this? She's watching on YouTube. And then another lady messaged me about some murder in Marlin in 2003.
Unsolved.
Oh, really?
Some cold case. And she like sent me this huge message and just was like, I don't know if you could mention it. And she didn't give me the name of the person, but she gave me the phone number of that lady's son to contact, to just, because I guess it got like brushed under the rug and nothing happened.
Wow.
And so I just feel like there's a lot of people who are starting to listen or whatever. And
Sometimes it
people do
takes a
listen.
case. Yeah, sometimes it takes a case like OJ to catch their eye. Like Lake Waco Murders was one.
Yeah.
Matt Baker was one.
yeah,
Of
yeah,
course, Ted Bundy. But they'll like ignore, but then they see their favorite.
Yes, for
And
100%.
then they
Sometimes I'll
stop.
just search like OJ
Yeah.
murder, and it comes up.
Yeah.
Wherever, yeah.
Love it, love it, love it.
because you never know if like the smaller like cases that don't really get talked about, are people going to want to listen to those small ones, or they really want to listen to the big ones?
Yeah, or could the small ones that you
Get
guys
big.
do bring those cases, to
Yeah,
light, where
yeah.
they get huge,
Yeah, I love it. I am ready. I am actually part of
The
Payoff with Pete today because my liver needs a break. So I'm drinking
drinking.
so I had me some Powerade and some water.
Why did we both have water? I mean, what are we doing?
That's the first thing that the alcoholics struggle with. I can just have one, and then that's it, right? Yeah.
And then, but I did pour a little bit of red wine in case I need some.
Yeah, you probably will.
It's
Or
weird.
want some.
It's weird because I'm sober, but I do I'm like
Red
"Come on,
wine.
have some wine. No, I want you to drink.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
for whatever reason, that's probably my
You
own
want to
shit, but
recruit
yeah.
me later on is what it is.
I'm like, yo, go ahead.
That's funny.
Well, this one shouldn't be too long, like compared to the first one.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we got.
I did have a question. Where were the kids during the murder? Because we ended
were there.
they were there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I double checked, but when the police got there, they took them out the back door. So the police got there, kids were still asleep.
Because it all happened outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they
Wow.
were. I don't know how long from when they were found to when police got there. Anyways, they didn't see it. They were taken out the back and like.
I need them to be interviewed now, or I'm sure you've seen some.
Oh, well, Jason Simpson was part of the chase, which he
Wasn't that another one?
There's Jason Simpson.
I think that was one of his first kids.
Yes, he wasn't in the house. You're right. Yeah, of course.
Those
He was
were-
older.
that
He was
was,
like 21 at the time.
Oh.
Yeah, from Marguerite.
Yeah.
But then the other two, Sydney and who else? I forget. They were inside the house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay, Caroline.
Okay, so where did we leave off? We left off. We're in the Bronco.
Okay.
We're in the Bronco. AC's driving. It's actually his Bronco. Did they both have Broncos?
Yes.
And now
Wait, who's AC's
Al
baseball
Collins.
player?
Al
Okay.
Collins, but that was one of his best friends. They grew up together in San Francisco. They played together at USC, and then they played for the Bills together. I'd have to check that if they grew up in San Francisco together, but definitely USC and the Bills.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did we talk about the letter? The confession letter that
Robert Kardashian
Robert read?
I think so.
Well, anyway, so OJ's out there. He's on the loose. He's officially a fugitive, and then he starts.
We didn't talk about
Kardashian-
this, by the way.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
talk about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so now he's officially a fugitive. His attorneys hold their own press conference. This is when Kardashian reads a note that OJ handed to him before getting in the car with AC. And it says, "To whom it may concern, first, everyone understand I had nothing to do with Nicole's murder. I loved her, always have and always will. If we had a problem, it's because I loved her so much, blah, blah, blah." He goes on to say when Nicole asked for divorce, she said that she loved him but wasn't in love with him. And he just keeps bringing that up in the interview that we played from last week. Just to like make sure you know that like I guess where they stood with each other, or I don't know. And so it's just like I heard he's still going to the gravesite and like yelling at the grave, like he's
Yeah.
still mad at her.
Yeah.
He's just still mad at her.
Why did you make me kill you?
Totally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Robert Kardashian read the letter. See, I call him Bob, you know. But so Robert Kardashian read it. This is how
First
much
name
I've
basis.
watched all this bullshit. He read it in front of 100 microphone stands and a ton of media. Like everybody, he was like on there. And at first, I remember watching this. You thought it seemed like a suicide note.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because I think he wrote like 3 notes, and one of them he had with him, one he gave to someone or something. But that's the one that they read. He ended it with saying, "Don't feel sorry for me. I've had a great life, great friends. Please think of the real OJ and not this lost person." So then he's basically like letting them know he's lost. I mean, so it goes on. It's like later in the afternoon. There's at least 20 or so police cars following him. Helicopters all over. They even said that one helicopter ran so long it ran out of gas, had to go refuel and go back. And it interrupted, like we talked about, the NBA game.
Oh yeah, the NBA
and
Finals.
It made it into the little tiny square at the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And it was on every news, like major news channel. It was on for over, it happened like 2 hours. They drove over 75 miles.
The slowest chase you've ever seen.
Yes, it was super slow.
It was more of like a convoy.
And it was both of them.
Yeah,
AC's driving, OJ's in the back.
Yeah, and he was in the back with the gun because he was, like they say, he was had the gun to his head. And he says that there was, as they're driving, not he says, but as they're driving, there's like crowds and crowds of people
with
holding
the signs.
posters.
Yeah.
Like "Go OJ, go!"
Yeah.
Like his commercial and stuff.
Wow.
And it was just like parade. Like,
Yeah.
But I don't know why they were going so slow on the highway though. Like, what was that about?
He really didn't. Well, maybe AC didn't want to die.
AC,
Well, then like this is
AC
not my business.
so they're talking to the police, like OJ from the car and AC. Like AC calls the dispatcher,
Because
calls
they're
911
also listening to it on the
on
radio.
the radio, and AC goes, "This is Al Cowlings. I'm calling. I have OJ. I'm here with OJ." And the woman goes, "Who?" And he goes, "You know who I am." AC said that, and the woman was like, "No, I don't." But then
That'd be me.
he was like, "I'm with OJ. We just want to get him home. Like, I'm worried he's gonna do something to himself, right, Caroline?"
Yeah.
So the police were kind of like, "All right, we're just gonna like escort him home to his home where he is going to surrender," and that's actually what happened.
Yeah, that's
So it wasn't a
did they
chase.
know?
Huh?
It wasn't a chase.
Well, it started as a chase. Yeah, they were looking for him. They were chasing him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Then
and then
once they okay.
But by the way, this is another thing. You've ever seen any chase on the freeway in Los Angeles? It doesn't turn into like a slow procession. Like it was because it was OJ
Yeah.
that they were like, okay, it's
basically
OJ.
a parade.
Totally, yeah. And they were like, the cops kind of treated him with kid gloves because he's OJ. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He said that he had been listening to this broadcast, and he said that what he heard saved his life because they started to say, they were talking about the previous times that the police had been called to their house and how he was like accused of beating up his wife and that he was a wife beater. Well, he started to snap out of it then because his reputation was starting to get tarnished and it was like hurting his pride. So that's why they ended up calling the police, or probably led to that.
This is
phone
according
call.
to OJ. Yeah.
This is from that interview. That's what he
Okay.
said. So some of this stuff is interesting because it's all interesting, but it's even more interesting because you get to watch it, listen to him tell it, to just see like what because a lot of the stuff is coming from him, but it makes sense. So he starts getting mad and doesn't want to be called a wife beater. So then that's when they call the police and they say, "Hey, we're going to go to our house or to OJ's house." And they're like, we'll just pull in the driveway and, that's where we're going right now. And so they get in the driveway, and then that's when his son, Jason is flailing all over the place.
He comes out of the house.
Goes up to the Bronco. This is all on video because the helicopters are watching it. Like, we don't know who this man in the white t-shirt is, whatever. So then OJ has to tell him, like, get back, and the police pull him back, so he's away from the car, and then he's just sitting there. he was in there for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, and he was talking to a police negotiator like the whole time. OJ was, and they were like, the guy did a pretty good job, obviously, of getting him inside the house. He didn't, you know, and he came inside, and the first thing he asked for was a glass of orange juice.
Oh my God.
Fact. The officer on the scene that said that. Yeah,
of course he would.
Yeah.
Well, so he said in the interview that he saw a sniper on the roof, and that he started to feel defiant and angry, and that's one of the reasons that he stayed in for longer. And yeah, his son had run out, and he didn't want his son to get hurt, so tell him the son to get back out. And he had a gun, and he had a framed picture of maybe he and Nicole or their family, and he had something else with him. But then in the Bronco, the police said that they had found like $8,000 to $10,000
and like a wig or some shit, right?
Yeah.
You know what?
I think didn't they have like some disguise stuff or no?
Yeah.
A wig.
Passport, pictures,
What the hell kind
a
of wig is he gonna
disguise
put on?
kit with a fake goatee and a mustache.
Yeah. There you go.
So I want to know if during that drive, if AC's his best friend, right? Your best friend should know everything if he confessed anything more to his best friend. Like if AC knows right now.
Well, that's a
I
great
would think.
question.
I would think.
Yeah.
I would think
And
too.
AC hasn't sold him out yet. If he did,
No.
it's a good best friend.
Yeah, ride or die.
Wow. Surely he did.
And the song "Natural Born Killers" it was Ice Cube and Dr. Dre. They did that next year. And what does Ice Cube say? I'm down with Dre like AC is down with OJ.
Oh,
Yeah,
look at
love
that.
it.
When it's being rapped about,
That
you
is
know it's
ride
true.
or die.
Yeah.
So he ends up getting taken in, and he is arrested, booked, and they said that he said that he had solitary confinement for 17 months, I guess, throughout the whole trial. Yeah, and he said it was hard for him because there's nobody to talk to. But of course, that's going to be hard for anybody because there's going to be nobody to talk to. And so he pleads not guilty on both counts of murder, and then it turns into this huge trial of the century. We've all, heard about it. And the prosecution was, okay, so it was 1995, and this was just 3 years after the LA riots.
Yes. After Rodney King.
Where
all those cops who beat the shit out of Rodney King got off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they were all assault and battery, all of them, boom, you walk free after a trial that seemed like it lasted 5 minutes. Probably lasted a lot longer.
Tell me a little bit about that, because how were they not guilty?
And that was the problem. It was, I don't know the ins and outs of the story, but I know the police corruption in Los Angeles was something that everybody was familiar with. I mean, certain cops, do their job, and they do a great job, but there was a really bad. I mean, there was this one woman who they talk about this in the OJ documentary. She was a black woman. She went outside. There was some disturbance. She was pissed because the city turned her water or her electric bill off. She goes outside her house. She's pissed off. Police are called, and she's holding this bill, and they shoot her to death. And it was like, and there was, I think those police may have gotten, but that was, certain instances like that had happened in the city of Los Angeles forever, and then Rodney King happens. So clearly people are pissed off, and so
which is probably why AC was not going to drive fast, was not going to speed.
100%.
Because after all that, I can hear the conversation is, we are black, driving while black, and then the cops here. I'm not trying to get killed behind this.
Yeah.
So I would have went 0.5 miles an hour too, and called the police on the way just to let them know.
Crazy as it was pretty smart. I mean, as far as driving slow, calling the police,
Well, so what's a speedy trial? Is that just means it happens fast?
Who said it was a speedy trial? The Rodney King?
No, for OJ, it said that he wanted a speedy trial, but then I was trying to figure out what is even a
the trial was anything but. It was 9 months, right? It felt like.
Yeah, but is it mean like the time leading up to
He's
the
probably
trial?
like, hurry up, make the trial date.
Hurry up. I think
Yeah.
is that the part that's speedy versus not speedy?
I don't know. Yeah, I wish I could tell you.
Because I always hear,
Yeah.
you hear that, you're like, oh, we have the right to a speedy trial. And I'm like, okay, versus a long, slow trial? I don't know.
I guess you just wanted, let's get to the trial. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, they ended up, and this was like one of the probably first cases broadcast on live TV. This is what made court TV.
You could say this was almost the birth of reality TV. I mean, the real world had started a couple years before, but I mean, from gavel to gavel, this entire trial was on CNN. And it was before CNN was like maybe looked at like a political.
Yes,
it was news. Right. It was CNN. It was on all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So judges have a right to delay trial dates, and so you have a right to a speedy trial where the judge can't delay it.
Well, now I want to speedy.
But that means the date of when the trial is going to start happens quicker than like 2 years from now.
Yeah. That's what. Well, so then he has the two lead prosecutors. Thanks, Google.
Yeah.
Are the one and only Marsha Clark.
Yeah, Marsha Clark. Yeah.
Do you know her?
No. Wait, who's Marsha Clark? Say it again.
The prosecutor.
Oh,
her
okay.
and Chris Darden.
Okay.
They're the ones who are, the two main ones. And you're gonna have to look at a picture. I mean, you don't have to right now, but what she looked like then and what she looks like now, I need to get her plastic surgeon's phone number. She had a glow up. She does not even look the same.
Uh-huh.
She even had a glow up mid trial because she had this permed
Okay, I remember
hair.
curly hair.
Was bad.
And she had huge bags under her eyes, and she just.
She was exhausted. She was going through a divorce at the time, like custody stuff. Like it was her life, and then
she didn't come off very likable.
No, that was people said maybe that was part of the problem.
Oh, she kind of looks like Kris Jenner now.
So a little bit,
she finally, once she got rid of that perm mid trial, apparently they prayed. They were like, "Thank goodness."
I think she would tell you the perm was a terrible idea.
She was getting some horrible too. She was getting beat up by the public.
Yeah, by the press. It was really bad.
Yeah. So she has a glow up, and then she goes on to say that she's never had a case with so much slam dunk evidence in her entire life.
Okay.
Because you have traces of the victim's blood in the car, on the in his home. There's, the DNA evidence. There's the glove that was left at the scene. There's hair. There's everything. But then Chris Darden, the other prosecutor, points out that you can have all the evidence in the world, but you just have to get people to believe it. Which, I believed it, but obviously the jurors didn't, or did they? And they just didn't want to say that because it was a little race situation, which it was. But what's the difference, between where they had the trial was up for debate, whether it was Santa Monica or LA?
Well, they needed to have it in LA. Well, the defense wanted it in LA because those are his peers per se. The big thing that happened with the Rodney King trial was they moved it to Simi Valley, which was out of LA, and it was super suburban. So they get people out there. It just changes the dynamic of, Santa Monica's very white, more money. You get it in LA County, you're talking about, just grittier, more people that will be more apt to find OJ innocent.
Okay.
So they said that doing it there may have affected the trial's outcome because it was the jury pool that was less educated, lower incomes, contained more African Americans, and then educated jurors with higher incomes are more likely to accept the validity of DNA evidence, where it's much more likely than other minorities to have. Does that make sense? To be receptive
it's like you're
of those
juggling
racial
chainsaws
movements?
over there, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
it's a tough point to make, but yeah.
So, but it was a big player in everything.
Oh, I bet.
So let's see, we have presented hair evidence because there were hair hairs consistent of Simpson's that were found on the cap that he was wearing that was left at the Bundy residence. There was fiber evidence, which I know nowadays is kind of not used that much. There was blood evidence, so there's like blood near like the body of like droplets, like showing that he had been walking away. And so there was also bloody footprints, so they could tell the type of shoe that was being worn. And it was this kind of, what was it called? A Bruno Magli.
Yeah.
So they found these
pictures. They found pictures of OJ wearing those at a game he was working in Buffalo.
And he was saying how those were the ugliest piece of shit shoes. He would never own any shoes that were that ugly.
Yeah.
Damn, those are so ugly. Like he went on to say how those were the ugliest shoes in the world.
And then
they were clearly like in his closet.
Or they've been in his closet, but they never found them, right?
No.
I don't know if I don't know,
because remember he got rid of his clothes.
Yeah. And then they had the glove. He has one glove that was left at Bundy. Like the right glove was left at Bundy Drive, and the other one was left at his house, his property, his Rockingham property. Yeah. So then defense goes on to say that you have all this evidence, but is all compromised.
They fucked up the scene.
It's contaminated.
The scene was awful.
It's corrupted. So the defense is saying that the handlers of
they had everything from the guy who was there to pick up the DNA samples. This young guy, like he goes to get the samples without latex gloves on. They had a picture of that at least, right? He was grabbing something, so that's contaminated. The scene was so horrific. Right away, one of the investigators or detectives goes in and grabs a blanket from inside the house, and they put it over Nicole's body.
Oh my God.
So there was a series. I mean, these guys they bungled that part of the investigation scene.
And that's usually how it is. That it's the actual police that actually screw up so many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then let's get to the biggest screw up of the whole case.
Yeah.
Which was having him put on the glove.
Yeah.
So they have one glove, and they really debate on whether they're gonna. Marsha Clark and
Chris
Darden debate on whether they want him to actually try it on.
Yeah.
And he goes, he decides it because Chris is the one who's.
Yeah, Darden's like, let's do it. Darden, who we haven't brought up, but a lot of people, he's a black guy.
Okay.
So.
Oh, yeah, and he faced a.
Yeah, he faced a ton of, like, this was a case, right, that was painted with the brush, like, hey, if you're black, you should be with OJ, otherwise you're an Uncle Tom, you're a sellout.
Yes.
So a lot of people were like, hey, Darden is. He was not loving. He was a guy. I think he was from Oakland. He was from a very his family was black and they were proud of being black. So he was like, this is embarrassing for me. So he wanted badly to win, and he wanted this moment, like a fucking Perry Mason moment, like he's gonna try this glove on and it's gonna be awesome. And everybody was like, don't do it.
Yeah, they told him not to do it. Well, he did it, and he had OJ try on the glove. Now here's the issue. He has on latex gloves. Okay,
to contaminate.
Latex gloves, right? Then he is trying on the glove over the latex glove.
Yeah.
Which, how is the glove going to fit if you already have another glove on underneath it? It's not going to fit the same. So then he's like tugging at it, like making this whole big thing about it, and and it doesn't go on all the way. And he's like, look.
There was also another friend of OJ's that said, okay, don't take your arthritis medicine. So his hands would swell up.
Yeah, and I've seen that everywhere too. But is that normal procedure to have why would you?
I would think, because what if it wasn't his glove? Now his DNA from his hand is going to be on the glove. So
that's why,
you got to protect the natural DNA on the glove and protect your own DNA. It's probably will never happen in the history of
But that's a great point, April. Of course, you wouldn't do that, right? But Chris Darden knows that. So it's like, he's not going to try it on with his bare hand. They're going to have to use a latex
to
glove.
protect.
So it's like, let's absolutely not do this. Everybody was really against him, and the jury was like, he looked like a clown, Chris Darden. Yeah. That's what the juror said. Like, he looked like a complete.
But how many hands? It's not like aren't gloves one size fit all? how would that have been the home run? It's a glove that could probably fit 14 men in that courtroom.
Yeah. I don't know if it was the fact that they were, I don't know.
And there were a lot of mind games going back and forth with like F. Lee Bailey, one of the members of the Dream Team we talked about.
So then he brings up Furman.
Well, yeah. So Furman's on. So Mark Furman, who was the key witness for the prosecution, because he found all the stuff at the scene, right? And there was controversy whether he took the glove and planted it there. Johnny Cochran takes over the case. He becomes the quarterback of the case instead of Bob Shapiro, and he makes it about race. He's smart. He's like, I know I can use Los Angeles' history. We're gonna use it here. So the case becomes about race more than about a murder. And Mark Furman now is the key witness for the prosecution, and the defense does all this stuff about him being racist. Using the N-word. So F. Lee Bailey has him on the stand, and he's like, hey, have you ever used in the last 10 years, used the N-word? And Furman's like, you could tell right away it was like very shaky. And Furman's like, no, or, not that I recall. So F. Lee Bailey's like, okay. So then they bring up a bunch of people who I think can show that not only has he used that word, but then like down the line, like nobody saw this coming. Mark Furman was helping a woman with a screenplay about Los Angeles police, right? And he was telling this woman his story. And I mean, he was using the N-word up and down. And it was very clear that, and Mark Furman would say, I was a sick guy. Like he said that. And he doesn't deny that, obviously that was him. He said it. And it was clear as day, like, they brought that. I don't think they ever let the jury hear that, the woman's audio tapes of Furman just saying the N-word all the time. But it became very clear that this was a witness who was extremely flawed. And so they dug into Furman. Hey, this guy's racist. He planted the glove because he's racist. He was pissed because a beautiful blonde woman is dating this black athlete. They brought up cases where he'd seen interracial couples before and had said disparaging things. And, the jury is predominantly black. And they're like, fuck this. So that's, Johnny Cochran was no dummy.
Even right now, you can't, that case can be tried right now. And if you got that many black people on the jury, that will bring reasonable doubt.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
Wow.
So then after Furman said all that, however many days later, he got back up on the stand.
And pled the fifth the whole time.
Yes, and pled the fifth the whole time, because I think that's when they called him out on everything.
Yeah, which is basically people were like, say that you had a period in your life where you were extremely messed up or whatever. Don't say I plead the fifth, because when you plead the fifth constantly over and over again, you might as well say I did. I'm guilty of this.
Looks like they did play these tapes.
They did play the audio. So they did play the audio for the jury.
McKinney was supposed to hand over. I looked it up.
Okay.
Yeah, Furman says, because he was supposed to explain the context of the tapes.
Yeah.
Which were played in open court.
And that's why he was brought back up.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And it was like the one guy, one of Cochran's guys, I forget his name. He was very. Carl, I forget. He was one of the other black guys on the Dream Team. He was awesome. He's just like this big personality. He's like a comedian or something. Yes. You should watch on the OJ. The documentary on ESPN. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, anybody that hasn't seen, if you're curious about this case, the OJ 30 for 30 on ESPN, or it's called OJ, I think, An American Story or something like that. It's unbelievable, and it kind of really dives into the case. So anyways, Carl was saying how there was a gift from the gods, these tapes that they got of Furman. They didn't know they were coming, but the woman came forward with them, and that was that. Yeah. Wow. OJ Made in America, that's what it's called. Yeah. Yeah.
So where are we now? We're in the middle of the trial. Anything else big on the trial?
I mean, there's one thing I meant to bring up, and I don't want to get us totally sidetracked, but we go back to OJ's story. One of OJ's best friends was Marcus Allen. Okay. And he was like mini OJ. He came to USC, won the Heisman Trophy, extremely good-looking black dude. was OJ's like one of his best friends, right? And apparently, when OJ was broken up with Nicole, Marcus slept with Nicole.
Uh-oh.
And a lot of people say that was what took OJ to like next level madness.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was, that is like all alleged and stuff. But
Right.
yeah. So that's, there you go.
But they weren't friends. Or
They were like
were
best friends. Yeah.
Best friends.
They were.
And like his protege.
Yes. Yeah. And Marcus Allen was smooth. He was incredible in the NFL. Probably had more success than OJ in the NFL.
Yeah.
At least team-wise. Raiders won a Super Bowl with him. Okay.
I wonder if, do you think it was like just a drug rage? Like he was on too many drugs, rage took over, and then that's why he is so, I guess, wrote that letter and everything because he realized what he did? Or
Possibly.
do you think he was coherent the whole?
Oh, I don't know. I think it could have been a blinding rage where he was like just lost it
When
like
he
that.
snapped.
But there's always, I think there is a very, it's very possible drugs were involved, like some kind of uppers or
Something.
speed or cocaine. Yeah, but that's never been proven.
So OJ, some of his thoughts about the verdict. Let me tell you what he thought about it.
Well, what's the verdict?
Well,
and how long did it take?
Okay. How long did it take?
The case trial took 8 months.
And then how long did the jury deliberate?
Oh, jury deliberated for what, 3 hours?
Yes, a morning. Yeah, after
One
8
morning.
months. Yeah.
It was like
The black folks were like, not guilty. And the white folks were ready to go home.
they
They're
had
like-
I remember somebody said it was at the end of the day the verdict was, it was said that they had the verdict and then they had to wait till the next morning to go in to read it or whatever. But I mean,
Johnny Cochran went on like a couple of days vacation, finally to get away with his wife, and the guy Carl we were talking about calls me. He's like, Johnny, you got to come back.
Oh,
yeah.
Johnny just
like,
knew
we got a
his
verdict,
coming.
dude. He's like, it's crazy.
Obviously, it's
Yeah.
guilty if it's that short.
Man,
I mean, these people didn't even get a chance to nope, go take a shit. Like nobody could go leave to blow their nose by the time they got back. It was
Wow.
they'd already decided. I mean, that's just the short. You don't even have time to talk about anything.
Carl Douglas is the guy.
Yeah.
The other attorney.
They were
Johnny
tired.
Cochran.
They were ready to go home.
Well,
It'd
which
been
they
too
were
long.
because they were sequestered the whole time, and they said that they even said that the jurors did. I think that they
I was thinking about that. Being sequestered? Are you talk to nobody? Like they go back, they couldn't think about it. You basically have no TV.
You stay at the
Hotel.
yeah.
I don't know what kind of communication you have with your family, but I know you can't go to work.
Yeah.
You can't watch the news.
For 9 months, you're in there by yourself. That can get pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I think that obviously can affect hugely.
Yeah.
So then they come back, and of course, he's found not guilty for both of the murders. And it was just a huge divide among America.
Yes.
Yeah, race-wise.
You had people cheering, then you get people crying.
Yeah.
In one instant, it was insane.
To show you how ignorant I was, or not ignorant, or whatever. So that was my senior year when OJ was about to go to trial in high school, and I wrote on my wrists "Free OJ," and this referee, it was before a game, this referee was like, "Get that off, get that shit off your wrist." I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah."
So his thoughts after the verdict was he said that he felt like if there was anything right in the universe, that there's no way that they would convict him.
Oh.
He said that people would come in. I know, it's so crazy. People would contact him while he was in the jail, whether it was the jailers or whatever, and that they told him that his go home moment, the moment they knew he was going to be able to go home, was after Mark Furman got off the stand, which was the officer who lied under oath about the racial stuff.
I wonder what kind of treatment he got in jail.
Oh, I'm sure it was great.
Great, like Martha Stewart type jail stuff.
Yeah. And they're like, OJ, you may have did it, but you're going home.
Yeah. That's what.
It's crazy.
Wow.
And then so
Johnny Cochran was like, "You're going home, Juice. You're going home." After they read the verdict, he was saying it right next to him.
Yes. So Sydney Simpson was the daughter.
Yeah.
She was 9 at the time of the murder, and brother Justin was 6.
Okay.
And they were asleep upstairs at night. And it says they didn't see the crime scene. I think OJ was asked about like what about the kids, or like what do you tell them, and like how is everything, like I don't know. And he was just saying like, oh, we just talk about our own relationship. I don't really talk to them about her or something. Like, and he said that he's never tried to erase Nicole's memory from them. And he has a picture of her at home on his wall or something like that. It's weird.
Wow.
Okay, but let me play this little clip about what how he feels about Nicole today.
Do you have a picture of Nicole at home on the wall?
Yeah. No, it's in the living room.
Yeah.
It's Nicole, me, and the kids. It was the last real group picture we took together. So it's right there prominent in my living room.
And
my kids keep pictures of her in their room.
Do you believe in heaven and hell?
Yes.
Do you believe that you're going to see Nicole someday?
Yes, I do.
You do?
And my mother, my dad, I surely do.
And what will you say to her?
Hey, I haven't thought of that. I would hug her. She, if there's a heaven, there's a hell. They know. I don't have to explain anything. They know. That's what heaven and hell is all about.
Do you ever talk to her in your mind?
No, I prayed to her. I've got on my knees and said to her, hey, look, I've cursed her. I've been to her gravesite, and why? What the hell? Look at these kids. Look at Sydney with no mother. I've done that. I've done that.
And that is the interview, by the way, that Caroline referenced. It was Fox, that it wasn't aired right in 2007, but they did air it like in 2018.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
they just.
It was like the If I Did It type thing. But that was very. That
was part of the whole Charlie interview too?
Yes.
That was part of
separate.
it. That was part of the same interview that we did on episode 1. But that was him being very honest. That was not this. If I did it, this was what's reality today. That was real. Yeah.
Yeah, that seemed genuine.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And it is, and this is what's scary, that if he did it, he's playing with heaven and hell. That's what scares me, because when you, like I always say, I'm going to ask Jesus who killed Jean Bonnet, where's Natalie Holloway?
Who did kill Jean Bonnet?
I don't know. I haven't dug the story.
Alive.
I mean,
It's Katy Perry.
Speed. Man, I got to listen to that episode.
No, but my mom's always like, there's no need to ask. You'll know. Like, you just know all. And so he knows that, and then he's playing with that. So if he's guilty, that's scary. It's even like he is that much of a narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
Or is he genuine? I don't know.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Yeah. So they even said that during this time the family had got a call from the cemetery saying that OJ was out there like screaming at her grave.
And it is a part of grief. You have anger and you have sadness and you have it all. Like, I don't know how many times I've been mad at people for dying.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've cussed their grave, but
I mean, I've never done that. So.
it's rage.
Yeah. So then OJ's a free man, and eventually in 1997 they did a civil suit to where he was found guilty or like liable, and he had to pay the families $33.5 million in damages.
Okay.
So
he hadn't paid him shit though.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what, according to them.
Yeah.
And so he's not even working, right? Because he don't want to give
I don't
them
think
money.
so. I mean, he has an NFL pension that I guess they can't touch. Apparently, he lives in Vegas now. He lived in Florida for a long time. He lives in Vegas or California.
Vegas.
Yeah,
Vegas.
okay. He lives in Vegas
Yeah.
now. So,
Yeah.
of course, this is a whole nother podcast, but he gets arrested again.
Okay.
Yeah, we can talk about
briefly
that.
talk about that, because that's
Yeah.
why he ended up getting
Put back in
going
jail.
to jail, and he
Yeah.
stayed in there for like 9 years.
The one way he could still make money, when he was in jail at least, was through memorabilia. So OJ, they would bring in, they couldn't get footballs and jerseys in there. This is when he was in jail and the trial was going on. So they would bring in like the number 32 from the jersey, and he would sign like 1,000 of those, and then they'd sew them back on the jerseys. They'd bring a little slab of the pigskin of the football, and he would sign like thousands of those. And that's how he generated money in prison or in jail to pay his attorneys, and because he'd spent everything on this dream team. Now flash forward, memorabilia was still a big drove income for him afterwards, right? And he had all this memorabilia. Well, long story short, somebody got a hold of this memorabilia, whether he had already sold it or whatever. This is not the exact details of it. This is like, Cliff's Notes. This ended up in Vegas. Somebody had all of OJ's shit that was worth money, his memorabilia. Pictures of OJ with Richard Nixon or, all this stuff, and the stuff that was worth money. And OJ was like, I'm going to get it back. So him and his buddies went to a hotel room one night and were like, give me my shit back, dude. One of them had a gun, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so now...
Him and AC?
Not
AC was by his side
It wasn't
again?
AC. At this point, AC was like, you're on your own. Yeah, AC wasn't going to get in any more hot water like that with him, or at least be around him after that.
So they robbed him.
They were arrested for armed robbery, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was something
Well,
with
what else do you have
kidnapping.
on that? Huh? Yeah, kidnapping, yeah.
I know. I
But
didn't really
this
look
wasn't
too much into it.
This wasn't terribly long ago. It was 2006 or 7.
Yeah, okay.
So he gets arrested. I think he gets out on bond, but he eventually goes to trial and he gets convicted. Like in 2008, he's convicted, and the judge threw the fucking book at him. The woman, it was kind of like the karma
gave him
police,
like 30 years.
something like
Could
that.
not eligible for parole after 9. Or
Yeah,
something.
and so
then
he did
was-
get out. It was
So
paroled
he
in
served his
2017.
full 9.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now he's got Twitter.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
All over Twitter.
Hey, Twitter world.
Hey, Twitter world.
Yeah.
Hey, Twitter.
It's me, OJ.
It's me. Okay.
Yeah.
So
That's pretty good.
did he get his shit back?
I
Obviously
don't know.
not.
I don't know. Yeah.
He's like, I need some more money. Let me
Yeah.
sell that.
When-
Yeah.
and he was, when he was in Vegas leading up to this robbery, OJ was living hard. There were apparently, he lived in Florida for a while. I remember one time his house got raided in connection to some kind of ecstasy ring. He was
Oh, God.
like, it
Yeah,
was
they went into depth
in
on
Miami.
that on
He
the
lived in Miami
show.
and he was partying all the time in Miami, nonstop. Found another girl that looked similar to Nicole. And he was partying nonstop. And then he was in Vegas partying there, but he was living hard, enjoying the nightlife, trying to continue to play golf. But clearly something dark. It was a dark existence. he
Even
was
darker.
living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, so I think that's it.
Yeah. I mean, it was just fascinating case. And trying to think if there was anything else I left out. No, the biggest part of it was, the race thing.
Yeah.
That a lot of the jurors were like, one of them was interviewed later, this older woman, and just said, hey, like,
She admitted.
she admitted, they were asked point blank, was this payback for Rodney King? She was like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. I can see it.
Yeah.
Like somebody said, the black men have, Emmett Till whistled at a white woman and was like hung, decapitated. And so they're in the news right now because she caused this. And so she's probably like 90 and they're trying to prosecute her, the Emmett Till case. And so I think black people are just thinking about little bit how many black guys went to jail for raping a white woman, but they actually just made eye contact when that was disrespectful. So it's just like...
There was a civil rights guy in Los Angeles, right?
Uh-huh.
And they asked him about, was this payback for Rodney King? And he was like, forget about Rodney King.
Forget about Rodney King, yeah.
400 years?
Yeah.
Like, that's what the guy said. He was like, so...
Yeah. I literally, because I can see both sides. And then because it's OJ, it's like, okay, this is a black guy we can get on board with. We can love him. And they just accepted, my father-in-law's married to a white woman. And, that was so taboo for so long and still kind of is now. And so when OJ did it, and it was acceptable, then that was hope for a lot of black and white couples.
Yeah.
And then he went and killed her. And so it's like we took 14 steps back.
Yeah.
People were just kind of accepting that maybe this is okay. But yeah, it's crazy that literally race is in everything, and it really shouldn't be, but it's in every case that we've talked about. You can go back to something about decision making or race or victimize or something. It's sad.
Yeah. I was listening to a book today about this Jim Gray, this is a famous sportscaster, was talking about, and he's a white guy, but he said, this is in 1991. He went to a restaurant where Hank Aaron, the black guy who beat Babe Ruth's home run record, Jim Gray said, I got seated, I'm just this regular white guy, and I'm sitting there, and I'm looking at Hank and his wife, and they're not getting a table. For like an hour, hour and a half, and he's like, and this is the home run king. And it's just like, and that's just a reflection of kind of the times then and some of the stuff.
Yeah.
So basically, he was saying, imagine what Hank Aaron dealt with his whole life. You know, breaking a white guy's record and all,
Not getting the respect. So I agree with forget Rodney King. That's like one little piece that if there's a reason to do it, it's like for everybody else. But I do believe that OJ was right on that. He'll get his own. 9 years still wasn't his penalty.
Right.
Sometimes it is better for the Lord to do the justice.
Let me tell you that Johnny Cochran was diagnosed with a brain tumor in December 2003, and he died in his house in March of 2005.
He represented Michael Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
Was that after or before? I forget. Yeah.
Kardashian, Bob Kardashian. He was diagnosed with
esophageal.
Cancer? Esophagus cancer?
Yeah.
And he died in 2003, and then F. Lee Bailey died in 2021, yesterday. June 2021.
Wow.
Joe's of July.
A year ago.
Yeah.
July, June 3rd, at 87. I was like happy.
So their whole team.
Dream Team is always like the. No.
And you know, Kardashian kind of like, he kind of bailed on OJ as a friend because I think
his like, you know, he had his.
He felt like he did it.
Yes.
Right. And so for some of those guys, and Bob Shapiro kind of bailed on everybody too. Like after.
I think he was mad at how.
It turned into a race.
There was some Hitler comparison or something.
Okay.
Unless I'm thinking of Amber Heard something.
You might be.
But there was some where it seemed like at the end, Shapiro was not very pleased. Oh, we're almost done.
Yeah.
He like wasn't. I guess they went to OJ's after the case.
Yeah, Shapiro didn't go.
He didn't go, and he just kind of. I don't know. He was kind of wanted to lay low and not be like.
Yeah.
Whereas Johnny Cochran was like celebrating. Say like won this race battle, I guess.
Huge trial.
And then Shapiro lost the race battle or whatever.
It became a little bit about Nicole in the end.
Yes.
And Ron Goldman, that is the sad part because she does have kids and she did have family and her life didn't matter, but it became more, the bigger picture was everything else that was going on. That's sad. Wow.
So
that is OJ.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This was like beyond fun. Yeah.
This was so
We're
great.
so glad you came.
Yeah.
If you have another obsessive story, we can tackle it.
And if you guys ever stop drinking, come on. It looks like we got, for April, we got day one. She hasn't touched that red wine yet, so there we go.
You got to start somewhere.
Day one down.
Oh my gosh.
No, I'm just on a break. Is there such thing as half sobriety?
No. I mean, you could. Well, they say California sober. If you want to go home and eat some edibles and smoke some weed tonight, you can go ahead.
That's what I will not do.
Yeah, unfortunately, well, good for my mom. She's on the edible train. She left the station. She's living her best life.
Tell me, do you have a favorite Pennsylvania case? That's where you're born, right?
The favorite, not necessarily. You know, there's a case here that I'll tease to you guys that I think you guys should do. There was a woman, she was killed. I forget her name. This is unfortunate. Oh, Lily Heffley.
Okay.
You guys should look into the Lily Heffley case.
Heffley.
Lily Heffley was killed I think in 1980, and apparently her husband had taken out an insurance policy on her before she was killed, and she was murdered in Fort Worth. She was shot in cold blood behind the steering wheel of her car, and apparently her husband was a gambler, and he was into somebody for a ton of money. This is a Waco. These are Waco people.
Okay.
So her gambling husband is into somebody for a ton of money, and that person had her husband take out a life insurance on his wife, Lily Heffley, and then that person had her husband kill Lily. But I don't think anybody's ever gone to jail. Yeah, Lily Heffley. And who tried it was our man down the road who's still here. What's his name?
Oh,
Ralph?
No, the attorney.
Vic.
Vic
Vic Vic tried it. Yeah, Vic's the man, and he knows everything about that case. So yeah.
Wow.
You might want to have Vic here and talk to him about that. Yeah,
Yes. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Now, how long have you been here in Waco?
Yeah, I've been in Waco for 5 years.
Oh, 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So you weren't around when it was the Baylor basketball player?
No, but that's a huge. I love that. That's I love it. There's another one.
Yeah.
Patrick, I know all about that.
Yeah,
Patrick Dennehy, right? Yeah.
I know. It just switched.
Sorry, I was saying like the escalator was almost running out. That's why I was like holding.
All right, well, that's okay.
Okay. We're about to finish it out.
Yeah. Patrick Dennehy was a huge thing. Jeffrey's 1-star. He's rewinding 1-star rewind right now. Thank you, Jeffrey. For those of you listening at home and other podcasts back. Hey, Jeff, if that's going to happen again, can you make it be my podcast at least? Yeah.
There we go, right there. We will be done in 5 minutes.
Cool.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. So we covered that story, and it's another story that pissed me off. Like Dave Bliss right now pisses me off. We had to record it twice because I got so pissed.
What
remember?
a real human piece of garbage. Like that guy, like what he did, and the fact that he never copped to it, right?
And now writes these Christian books.
Yeah, he's still
No.
and
able to coach.
And still able to coach.
Yeah, but then the other guy, we called him
Yeah, he was a whistleblower.
the
He blew a
whistleblower.
whistle.
Never got to
And-
coach again.
Yeah.
The assistant coach, the black guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is like Dave Bliss went out and recruited these kids, and then just turned his back on them. And so that's my son. Is like we will go and you believe in these coaches when you listen to them, and then
Well, they tell you, I will watch after
I'm gonna be your
son,
parent
like I'm
in your
you.
absence.
Yeah.
I think that's why it got me so much. Is
And with basketball, it's even more intimate because there's only like 12 guys. you know? And so that's the definition of family, and that is the definition of wronging somebody. What Dave Bliss did, and people who don't know about it, go back and listen to their podcast. It was the definition of egregious.
ridiculous. Okay. I guess that's it. We hope y'all enjoyed both parts of OJ. Listen to it twice in a row. And actually go watch it 30 for 30. That's what I'm doing. I've been holding off until you told me.
Well, it is
Part
5 episodes,
2.
all hour and a half episodes.
Oh, it's not just the 30? It's not a 30.
Oh,
it's-
no, there's no 30. It's,
There's
Yeah,
nothing
you gotta
30
commit
about
to
it.
it. Yeah.
it's 90 for 90. I don't know why they put the name is.
90 for 90.
You could get the first one is like the first episode is a bunch of like history.
You could almost skip one and go right to two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause-
I'm
yeah,
excited. I'm excited. I'll make my father-in-law and my husband watch it too.
Yeah.
See if I can get them to.
They'll be into it. It's interesting for sure. Yeah.
All right. This was good, Pete. We loved having
Thank
you on.
guys.
So
Yeah,
did
I
our
love being here.
fans.
Thank you so much.
Caroline, what should they go do
Rate,
they do?
review, subscribe.
Yes.
Leave a review.
Give us some reviews. Those are always great.
There's
And
a lot of there's a lot of buzz about the podcast. So
Yes.
people love this podcast.
thank you.
Share it with some friends.
Yep.
Share it. Everybody loves it. Love to watch it.
Person who gives you a wax, your nail lady,
Yeah.
your boyfriend,
Yeah.
your side piece, your husband, all of them. Share. Also, send some stories. I was thinking about doing a cruise killing since I just got off one and survived it. There's a whole podcast about cruise deaths.
And getting trafficked.
Yes, or just get thrown off the edge.
They jumped.
Or somebody pushed them.
Or did they?
Or did they? But if you got any favorite stories, send me those, and then I'll do some research because it's my turn next week.
Yay!
That's it.
Get excited.
Hey, don't forget to
Stay aware.
stay alive.
And always be DTF.
Bye, y'all.
See ya.
So.
Done.
Guys, that was awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
This has been a Rogue Media Network